Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an episode of Fredinhiovic playing Nomade. I'm recasting this game because I think it was quite a funny game with a lot of action, some will fights, and I'm playing as the Mongols in red. My TC starting spot is in the north, the same as my opponent in the blue is placing his town center, I think, there. Here is a little bit of awkward spot, and I'm already scouting his town center with my sheep. I lost it at this point. I'm building a house and my dog in the south of the map. You see here my town center is up much earlier. He's taking the shorefish, so he has some nomad experience. Also scouting with his sheep. News about a lot of water in the right corner of the map. So he's scouting the woodland, and meanwhile he has two sheep there, some ibexes, food resources there. My point of view is I knew that there must be something because I lost the sheep earlier, my dog in the south, and some sheep for food resources there. I'm going with 4 villagers on wood, and there I found some sheep of him, so I knew that my opponent is near. And if you look there, no, not yet, but later I will see the sheep he's taking food with. So at the beginning there's, like always in Nomad, not as much action as you may want to see. Some early houses to not get housed on Nomad because get housed there is always pretty bad. So now I saw the sheep, so I knew there's his town center. I have 1 fishing ship out, my opponent 0 until yet, so I have a advantage beginning of the start here, taking the food to not idle my town center. So at this point I run out of sheep, and I thought that the next villager can bring in the boar, but it was too late, so I added 3 villagers about 10 seconds. Had 2 fishing ships out, my opponent now is first. Bringing in the boar. They have a lot of food. Oh, idle my town center there now. And the sheep there was also standing very long at this point. So you can see I'm always producing ships and villagers if I can next to each other. My opponent has a less amount of wood, so he is idling his dog. He still has, no, he has now 2 fishing ships, but I have already 4 out, so that boosts my food economy quite a lot. And then he got housed, but not as long. He has 2 houses, but not in the best spot, only 3 gaps away from his town center, and not producing any fishing ships anymore, like me as well. So Meanwhile I had a lot of food, gathered 3 villagers in queue, but some idle villagers there, and now I have 4 fishing ships out, and now the idle villagers going to build a mill, because I want to take the berries. They are next to my opponent, and I'm Mongols. They have a hunting bonus of 40%, so I decided to not build a mill for this ibex here, because I'm very fast at getting the food, so that I can live with the idle time going back and walk to the town center. Also I started to wall in the resources of my opponent. Meanwhile he's taking the berries in the back, and I'm building an outpost, and I started to wall his right flank off. So there's also a boar I could have taken instead of the ibex in this situation. And I stopped producing fishing ships for a long time, because I knew my opponent had not as much space to expand in Castle Age, that he has to go for water, and I have a lot of place in the later game, so that I decided to wall my opponent off and not focus on water. Everything I can get food with fish is some bonus. Now I'm bringing in this boar, and at first I wanted to wall in the stone, but then I decided to wall off the complete base of him. So there are the houses, but he's dropping the barracks, and I made some mistake there. I thought he won't shoot any more arrows, and then I reacted too late and the villager died. But the houses have some HP, and so this flank is safe. I decided to wall off this little area here too. I'm already in fuel age. My opponent is still he's creating some militia. He has 4 fishing ships out. I have 5. And now he wanted to go for the gold on the top of the map, but it's already walled in. Like the right flank, sorry for that. And at this point I have a lot of resources, and yes, he's going for the gold right next to my TC. He should have seen this, so he could guess that my town center is right there. I'm taking sheep there, and so of course I'm seeing it. He's sneaking around with the villagers on the top. I saw the blue points, but it was too late to fight, and so I decided to scout the area on the top and wall the area there off. Meanwhile, there he started to build a tower, and at this point I saw the villagers decided to not gathering my town center and fight back with villagers to deny the tower, because this is a very ugly spot, and also a very bad tower placement, because I saw it earlier. He will lose 3 villagers and the resources of the tower. He's already walled in, So at this point I had one villager in the back, but he breaks through with his man-at-arms. So it's quite messy. You see it on the top. I have 12 idols, my opponent 4, now 8 to 4 or 5. The villager counts are pretty even, and I tried to lure his man-at-arms into the town center if he's not paying attention, but at first he was. Now I had 10 idols, but I guess he saw that he couldn't get out anymore until there he was walled in, and there he lost 2 of his men-at-arms, and then he decided to put the tower back, but he came with more villagers. I bring the low HP villager back and then fight with the villagers. At this point I wanted to micro the low HP villager, but I always got other ones, so I lost hero 1, very unfortunately, and he's now building an archery range. I'm chasing these 2 villagers down, walling the flank of New, and yeah, also building the tower. Could he get out there? Oh, I think there's a hole too. So he still was able to get out, but his villagers, he just wanted to finish the tower. The tower is on, but it was too late to wall it off, and so I decided to fight the villagers again and deny the tower, and he's chasing his wood there and there. My villagers are also standing there for a long time now, so you see how messy the game was for me at this point. I had a lot of idols. This villager could easily take the food of the sheep, but I had to focus that this tower won't go up, because yes, he would deny my stone and the goat. And now I'm fixing my idols, building some new farms, having meanwhile a lot of fishing ships in the south of the map, and a lot of resources, so I could easily gone up for Castle Age now, but I focused on a second tower there to deny his farms and his wood taking villages there, and he does not care about it. So oh yeah, and there I made a mistake. I wanted to sneak my villager out, but he was he had to run during the town center through this hole, and so he saw me and was chasing the villager. But I'll show you what happens next later. So I still have 6 idols in the tower 4, and there I was building my barracks because I knew I could easily go in there. Where are the other 2 idols? Maybe the fishing ships? No. And then he just was chasing the villagers with 1 skirmisher, and so I hope that he doesn't care about 1 single villager in the back of his base. So he was chopping wood there, and had a mill in the right corner, had a sheep farm there, and then I went back and fight Skirm. I was taking Skirm, and yeah, look at that. I had didn't have the buildings for Castle Age. I decided to build a stable and some blacksmith in the south. So I still have 6 idols, but the Skirm died, and I decided to put another tower in the back of his base with a very low HP villager. He made the mistake to not kill it. He was already standing there, and now he's in Castle Age and I'm not, but At this point I'm 7 villages ahead, so I think it was a good spot for me. And but he completely out of gold and stone, he had nothing in the top, made a transport ship and transported him, yes, at this point of the map, and he was going for the gold next to my base, so he wanted to bring me out of gold. He had a lot of wood there, and now he sees the tower in the back of his base to there. The stable is there, so now he's completely walled off again. But I'm not paying attention at the gold, some mistake for me, but there were some blue points, and so I'm not seeing the new town center, but I recognized it very early that there was going something on, and put the villagers back without losing one yet, but this villager went back to the gold, and so the town center is shooting him. But my first reaction was to immediately a counter tower, because he had spent a lot of resources to go on this gold, and at least I wanted to deny him from gold because I knew he had nothing on the top of the map. I put a new tower down there so he can't take the wood down. His only wood line was left to this, and I'm going for fletching. He had boom on the water like I expected earlier, so maybe I could have built some early fire gullies, but yes, you see here he has absolutely no space. A few ships there. I had a scout, and I really wanted him not on the gold. At this time I had to send my gathering point of the town center not on the gold anymore, and I built another tower next to the gold and on his harbor, and chasing down the archery range because I knew he can't fight me. He had the villager lead now with some new men at arms. I recognized it too late, using one villager there, and unfortunately the tower is out of range. But I'm producing some knights. He could only produce some scouts because he's out of gold, like I knew. So he had 21 idols at this point. Look, me now having only 12 idols. So, and some mistake by mine. I'm losing a village there, but stealing the sheep and walling off the goat, so he could not expand to the corner down. And I had an entrance to his base, but he can't get out, so the towers they are shooting the farms the whole time. He's losing constantly villagers. At this point I shouldn't have fight the scout next to the town center. Losing or wasting my army quite early, also bringing the sheep back to my base, having 14 idols and down already 10 villagers, but having enough stone. Oh, I think I bite the stone at this. No. Oh, I could have bite this stone at this point, walled my villagers in so that the castle could go up, and also the gold down there is walled in. And if you see the fog of war, he knew about this gold. He knew there was a palisade, so he does not see a lot of gold at the map. He has not scouted the whole right area. Was pressured in, or boxed in the top corner, and started to fight with scouts. I may lost some villages there, but the castle goes up. Decided to jump in the castle, and look at the wood resources, 1700 wood in the bank. Me idling at the sea, but I'm building a university there to get murder house. Maybe not useful, but yes, I was also not on gold, so I could not build some expensive military units at this point because I focused so much on deleting his resources, and had a lot of food in the bank. At some point of the game I was selling the food, and always some idols by me, but it was a really messy game too, and he must sold some. But look how weak the knights are. They have no armor, no upgraded knights, and I think you should see it. I had flagging for, and yeah, not really armor 2, but at least 1, and so I knew he can't go up there for the gold. I switched some villagers up there to focus now on military. I had a clear lead of map control, but with villager high he was leading at this point a lot. This was about the water, but look how he is not managed control of getting a good food resource. He was fishing there. At this point he should have bring his main fishing ships to the right corner, and he still has no upgrades on his knights, taking gold there and building another town center. But still, this tower is shooting. These 2 towers are annoying him. He can only chop wood in his old base. There's nothing left, and all he had on economy outside was this, because the castle destroyed his town center. He was off of this gold, and the castle's head murder house, and yeah, I saw everything because of the palisade wars in his base, and knew about the men-at-arms, about the scout and the knight, and having meanwhile 46 villagers, an opponent 67. There were those some elite there, adding his military down here, and I started to not fight his military down there. I decided to raid his economy there because I knew he can't do a lot against the night raids, and he's losing a lot of villagers, so the counts are getting even anymore. He's booming in the south of the map, trying to, now he's trying, I thought at first he's trying to go for my villagers, so I brought them back to my second town center, walled off the wood line, but he just was going for the towers, and so I produced some spears. Maybe it was unnecessary because I had a lot of spears down there, but I forgot at this point about that, and so I chased down the knights. I had a huge amount of food at this point, and he's starting to produce some fire gullies. I expected this before, so that's the reason why I haven't redocked there and was not paying attention on water, because everything I could get on food at this point of the water was good runners, but not more. And if you look there, I raided him to death, losing a lot of knights, but he tried to wall off Now I'm attacking this house, not paying attention that this house is mine. So yes, I had some bad ideas in this game too. Fighting now the 3 men-at-arms with 16 spears. So it's a really unusual fight at this point. Now he's to defend, building a castle. That was some misclick by mine. I tried to get another castle up on the top of the hill, but it was too far away, so I can't reach his villages there. But later researching what can arrow in the blacksmith some spears fighting against the men-at-arms. Not the best idea, but I had a huge lead in amount of military, so 22 to 7. Villager counts are even anymore. He's losing and losing everywhere villages, and the castle is shooting now down my houses. I'm losing the fish, but I could live with that. And now I wanted to build another castle down there, so that I can deny this only producing buildings from military he had left, and raided down his old base to death. I decided just jump on the villagers. Now look at the build count, 60 to 49 to 50. He had his lead, but the score is yes, very yes, he tells the game pretty well. Now I could go for the gold there too. I had enough stone. The stone here was gone, and there's the second castle denying his town center. This castle could now reach his town center too. He raised up a market, but there's nothing left. If you recommend, and there have been a lot of villagers in his old base. They all died. He now has 45 villagers. He was just going for the knights, so I could easily counter with my spears. At this point I could have upgraded them maybe to pikemen, but it was not needed. I wanted to build a tower behind this woodland too, but I hadn't the stone at this moment, and now here's the GG. So this was a really interesting game. Boxed in my opponent, and if you look at the timeline, he had his lead at the beginning of the castle age, but then the map control and his situation paid out. He still was at the highest time, 1 villager ahead, but at economy I was clear leading. And military, look at that, units killed 111 to 35, and then the score was quite good for me. So see you later.